All right, everybody, we're back. We promised we would be back, and we are back. The Sharpshootin podcast is back once again for another interesting week of WWE discussion. Pete, say what's up to the people.
What is up, people? We like you said, Mike. We're back again, and it's just going to be all rolling from here because we got the Madison Square Garden pay-per-view coming up that we'll be covering as well.
Yeah, we have a lot of. I don't even think we have a lot to discuss. Simply because I didn't think this week's Raw was that good, but I think there's a lot to discuss in the near future, especially with this whole Go to Hell tour that Brock Lesnar's doing, which I think is ingenious. But as far as this episode of Raw, there was some interesting moments, but for the most part, I have to be honest. I did kind of take a nap in certain areas because
Yeah,
it started off great. Let's just go from the beginning. Go ahead. Let's start from the beginning.
yeah. Like you're saying, 90% of Raws it has its moments, but all in all, it's pretty average at the end of the day. So, Raw kicks off this week, a bit different to last week with the Wyatt. It's John Cena coming out, obviously the new US champion, and he's doing his usual US Open challenge. But this one, I don't think I really did expect who came out. Like, having the New Day come out was a bit odd to me. I mean, I like the idea of it and everything, but literally were the last people I expected, and they cut actually a pretty cool promo. It was actually really funny. I'm really starting to like the New Day. I know when they started and they were all like baby face-ish, it just didn't work. But now they're kind of like a play on heel in a way group. It was actually pretty interesting. And you had Cena. He worked the crowd pretty well. I mean, the crowd for me it was noticeably bad, like more bad than I remember. Like they just
Yeah,
weren't into anything. So that kind of hindered the show a bit. But I thought it was cool how you had Xavier Woods chosen. I mean, he doesn't really wrestle as much as I would have liked to see, but it was a good opportunity. They had a fun way of choosing who they did it. Xavier Woods, when he got chosen, he goes, "You're about to get lost in the woods." I was dying.
that was such a great line. It's funny because me and a friend of mine who watches WWE, we were talking about how good they are, and I was saying to him, I can't think of a group in years that have had such like great chemistry and this like had been so good on the mic. I mean, these guys are ridiculously good on the mic. I mean, and you would have never known it if you would have like looked at their previous WWE history. It's like I was never a fan of Kofi Kingston. I mean, Kofi Kingston is never rated high with me. But as a part of the New Day, I'm feeling him because he's showing a lot of personality. Big E. I was a fan of Big E from NXT. I thought when he first got up to WWE, they kind of like misused him and they put him in a really bad position. But now with the New Day, Big E is just his personality has like opened up times 100. And Xavier Woods, I mean, I've always liked him, Consequence Creed, all of that. But he is like hitting his stride. I mean, these guys are great. Can you think of a crew in like recent years that have been as good as these guys when it comes to their mic work?
No, not really. I mean, most tag teams I can remember, current tag teams are more just action in the ring, like the Hardys and whatnot. But um, recently, I can't remember too many tag teams that spoke this much. To be honest, I mean, every week these people are coming out. So um, Cena, obviously, he was playing the full. Basically, the serious one. He's like, there's a time to goof around and there's a time to be serious. If you get in this ring and you don't take me seriously, I'll like beat all three of you. I thought that was a cool line. Made Cena look like a badass. But this match was actually interesting throughout. Like I thoroughly enjoyed the entire match. So obviously you had Big E and Kofi on ringside for a little bit of the match before they were ejected, which actually didn't take too long. I thought it was funny. Cena hits Xavier Woods with a clothesline at the start of the match, and then Xavier Woods was like, "I wasn't ready."
He is hilarious. Xavier Woods is fucking hilarious because I mean he was really acting like, nah, reset, time out. Oh no, like oh my, it's perfect. He was perfect.
Yeah,
He's perfect with that.
but as you would expect with this match, the result was never really in doubt. Like there was no way Xavier Woods was getting over. This was just a nice little spot filler, really, and it worked. It served its purpose pretty well. I mean, at the end, you had the New Day come out and start like laying into Cena, and basically, like we said, Cena's title reign never in doubt. The US Open Challenge will continue each and every week on Raw for the foreseeable future because I can't really think of a superstar right now that's going to take it off his hands. But like I said, it was very good to see Xavier Woods actually in action.
Yeah, it was a really good match. He pulled off some nice moves. But it was a good transition too to the next match, which ended up after New Day attacked John Cena, ended up being a 6-man tag match with the Dudleys coming out saving John Cena. And now they're again going up against the New Day, and even that was exciting too. I really liked that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to see the Dudleys wrestle. I think their chemistry is great and it works well. I kind of had a sneaking suspicion when they came out they were going to do something like that. It was a good way to get a bit more out of Cena in the night. But that match was obviously they had Big E working a lot on the restless Cena. Cena had just been in a match, so he's taking it on Cena. But the match, like you said itself, it was actually really good to watch. And the result was a bit of a surprising one. I mean, it's not overly surprising in a way because they had to make the New Day at least appear the stronger of the two tag teams, or have a winning look against the Dudley Boyz going into the Madison Square Garden pay-per-view. So towards the end of the match, you had I can't remember. I think it was Devon Dudley that looked like he was gonna go on a rampage, and he was taking out everyone. It looked set up for the Dudley drop, but then you had Xavier Woods distract him. And then that allowed Kofi Kingston to hit the Trouble in Paradise on Devon Dudley and pick up the win for the New Day.
Yeah, I mean it was a good match, and of course, in typical New Day fashion, they leave with all the histrionics. Those guys are goofy, and Big E dancing. Good Lord,
that dance is that. Oh my! You see his face too. His face is like just
exactly.
Like so
his facial expression it makes it. Oh my god!
Yeah. So,
by the way, just as a quick side note, have you ever checked out Xavier Woods' gaming channel?
I think I did a while ago, but I didn't know he actually constantly updates it.
No, it's a full-fledged gaming channel that he puts up videos almost daily. And it's him and other wrestlers playing games, and it's really great. You'll get some good interviews too because he actually does one-offs where he'll sit with someone, like he sat with Rusev and they discuss like different personal things and stuff like that. Well, Rusev was playing Mad Max, and it's like it's really interesting because you get to learn a lot about them as people. Like I'm not one who's big on WWE as far as pushing the reality thing, but the way that Xavier Woods does it, he keeps them in character, but he just talks about what their career path, things that they like to do outside of the ring, stuff like that, So it still fits within wrestling, but it also it gives you you get to see them as a person. Like I came off looking at the one with him talking to Victor. The Ascension's like, yo, Victor's a pretty cool dude. A lot of people may not like the Ascension, but Victor's actually a pretty cool dude. So it's interesting.
That definitely sounds pretty interesting. I'll probably end up checking it out.
And of course, you need to see them when they do their tournaments because their tournaments are hilarious.
Yeah. So the whole the whole start of Raw was definitely, I definitely recommend it. Like, it obviously got us ready for the rest of the night, and that was the biggest mistake. Got you ready for the rest of the night just to be disappointed. So, you've already had 2 matches, basically straight out the bat. Match 3, Big Show versus Mark Henry.
Yeah, and that's where like the show just started to tank. It was like really you come off such a high note. Okay, maybe you want to bring the crowd down with just a little, bit, but don't put them to fucking sleep. Good lord.
That was an instant anchor. That was an instant anchor.
Yeah.
You just sunk to the bottom of the sea. Honestly, this match was stupid. I don't know why WWE feel the need to bury Mark Henry every chance they get. Like, I mean, this done nothing for the Big Show in terms of legitimately setting up in a way that you look at him and go, like, this guy's intimidating. He might actually destroy Brock Lesnar. This does nothing at all. Like, honestly, anyone can beat Mark Henry at the moment.
Yeah, didn't Mark Henry just got jobbed the week before?
Yeah,
so,
against Sheamus.
Yeah, so it's just like you really didn't do anything, and it was such a quick match. It was just
I remember when they were feuding. When Big Show and Mark Henry were feuding back in 2010, 2011, when Mark Henry was champion. Their matches went for a while, and Mark Henry was able to compete. All of a sudden, Mark Henry just gets buried instantly. It was honestly, they were trying to do a real quick rush to make you go like, okay, Big Show's versing Brock Lesnar. Big Show just did this to Mark Henry. Let's go. But stupid match, stupid match. There's not much really you can extract from
Big Show knocked out Mark Henry. Mark Henry looked pathetic. The end. That's about the gist of that whole match. It broke the mood. That's the best that I could say about that damn match. That it broke the mood.
Yeah. So, moving along, you had Miz TV. Why the Miz is still on TV. How he gets on Raw. I don't know how he does it. He must do something amazing.
Vince really
backstage.
loves him. That's all I have to say.
He must do something amazing backstage to get here. But regardless, he had Charlotte and Becky Lynch on. Obviously, the whole thing with Paige and how they're how would I put it? It's like Paige has kind of gone solo. So the group's on their own. So the Miz, obviously, as usual, you'd expect with the WWE, they're plugging Total Divas, and then ends up welcoming Divas champ Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and he tries to basically get them to talk about Paige last week, about what she did, and Becky Lynch obviously took it and tossed it around, and Charlotte's calling out Paige. So it looks like that group is obviously going to be the first to break up. But instead of getting Paige, you had the Bellas come out, and Nikki Bella just reminding everyone that she's the longest reigning Divas champion. She started the Divas Revolution and all that. And it just looked like it was actually, I wouldn't say great, but I mean, I feel Nikki's not too bad on the mic. At least from my point of view, at least she gets some good one-liners.
Oh, no, she's bad, but I think they found the best way to use her because all she can do is the mean girl stuff. She really has no real promo skill. So all she could do is just sound like a stuck up bitch. It's basically that's her. That's going to be her stick for the foreseeable future. Because she can't go any other way, because she has no real personality. She has to be like a bitch.
Yeah, I get that. And there was a memorable quote in there, actually, like Paige was talking to Nikki and Brie. She said, when you two have boyfriends like yours, who really needs ambition? That was a little backhand compliment. Daniel Bryan and John Cena, that is not a bad
exactly. Hey, you got good company there.
They're taking care of you, don't you worry. But obviously the arguing turned into brawling before ending up turning into a match. You had PCB versus Team Bella, which was already weird simply because what
Yeah,
happened
Paige is just
previously.
like, yeah, she's not PCB. She's Paige, Team Paige. That's it. That's
Yeah,
all
and
she
now
cares
it's
about.
like all of a sudden she just jumped in. But the Divas, I don't know, Divas tag matches, they just, I feel they can't interest me as much as singles Divas. Like, I prefer seeing Divas go one-on-one than I do seeing
Yeah, I
tag
think
team
it's
Divas.
because they don't really have a lot of chemistry and teamwork. Like the Bellas were really the only tag team that they ever came into WWE as a tandem when it comes to the divas. It's usually just we just throw this girl with this girl because you're faces and then you two are heels. So that this is how it worked. Boom. It's not like how at TNA when they had like legit tag teams in their diva division. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
So
that's true. So, um, regardless of how the match went, obviously it's not gonna. It doesn't. The only thing that matters is the ending, and that was Team Bella. They picked up the win, but how they won with I think Charlotte ended up getting distracted. I can't remember by who, and then Nikki ends up
yeah, I
taking her
think
out,
Paige
picks up
did
the.
something. Yeah, Paige pretty much left her out to dry. And
Oh yeah, and then Nikki picks up the pin. So Nikki beats Charlotte. Obviously, we all know that Nikki's gonna get her rematch for the title, whether she wins or loses. Who knows? I don't. I honestly can't see at this moment Charlotte's reign lasting, just because of how the WWE shaped her. She hasn't really done much with the belt, if that makes sense. Like when Nikki was champion, as much as everyone hated it, she was always there in your face with the title. But I feel with Charlotte, it's just kind of like a placeholder at the moment. Not saying in the
yeah.
future she won't be another Divas champion, have a better run, but this run for her just hasn't been good, or it hasn't started well enough for me to see her continuing on.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think they just wanted to get rid of the whole era of Nikki being champ.
Yeah, I think they didn't want it to get too far away either, to the point where like
Yeah.
another
I think they
diva
just
wouldn't
want
be able to reach it.
AGA. I think they just wanted AJ out of the record books because that's we can't speak of AJ and CM Punk anymore. They're gone. So let's get them out of the way. We're not on good terms with them, so no, we got to eliminate that. Okay, that's done. Now let's give the fans the concession. Get the belt off of Nikki. Charlotte. People love Charlotte, so cool. Now Nikki probably will get another run. Although I'm hoping that even if she gets it back somewhere in the mix, Sasha Banks will show up and take it off of her, and let Sasha have her run, and then her and Charlotte going at it would be great. Her and Naomi going at it, that would be great. Her and Tamina, because you'll actually get better wrestling matches, I think, out of the deal. I'm sorry, Nikki. Your skills, nah. You've gotten better. She's gotten better, but no. I need the Divas champ to have better rivals.
Yeah, I mean, you would have. We all expected Nikki to get better simply because being champion means basically wrestling almost every night, even on the road.
Yeah.
So she would have had to learn a few things. But regardless of that, the that whole Divas Revolution, there's so much talk about the Divas Revolution. There's barely any wrestling, and that's my problem with it. Like all they do is just talk about these teams, but just when do they actually wrestle? And they need to break most of these teams up and let everyone just go back at it. That's my honest opinion.
Yeah. Those teams definitely need to go. I mean, I'm okay with Team Bad. That kind of work. The way that it's set up, it kind of works. Because I feel like that's something that could eventually roll into Sasha's old crew. The BFFs. Like she
Yeah,
could do the BFFs again.
I feel for me though, if that team was to win, I see Naomi as the front runner in that group.
Yeah, True.
So would that mean Naomi gets the belt and Sasha Banks stays by her side? Like, I'd much prefer. Oh,
Well,
I don't
then,
know.
yeah,
Naomi's
if
not
Naomi
worth it.
got the belt, Sasha would have to leave to
Yeah.
grow. And Tamina can, I mean, stay. She works as the muscle anyway. But yeah, I see that.
Well, enough Divas talk for I think this episode.
I see the Divas. They got love. They get love right now.
They do.
Yeah.
No one can complain about that. Moving on to match 5, and that is the Primetime Players versus Luke Harper and Braun Strowman. And literally, this is... I actually said this before we went on. It's the typical Primetime Players match in terms of, like, Darren Young comes out, right, and he does a brief, like, rampage of sorts, like, just going crazy with all these things. And then Luke Harper just boots him in the face. And then it's like a typical like tag team where they dismantle the baby face, and finally Darren Young's able to get a tag to Titus O'Neil, who obviously fared better because of the size. Like, think about it, Luke Harper and Braun Strowman, massive men. And he ended up rocking Harper, but obviously couldn't do the same to Strowman because of the way they're presenting Strowman as like this monster, not being able to get down. And then O'Neil basically went into Harper first and then straight into the Wyatts, like basically into Strowman. And once he got in that submission, that was it. And unfortunately, another person goes down to Braun Strowman, aka the Rosebud.
It's still funny how that's where his roots began. He was just a Rosebud. Oh man,
Where
is Adam Rose, by the way? I wonder what they're doing with him. Like, what's the move with Adam Rose?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
With Sami Zayn, damn, is he healthy now? Damn, a lot of people out so far. Anyway.
Yeah, so it'd be very interesting. I don't think this does anything at all in terms of legitimacy for Luke Harper and Braun Strowman to run for the tag team championship. I don't know if that's the direction they're heading.
I don't think that is what they're doing. I would feel kind of like salty about that because I've always felt like Luke Harper and Eric Rowan should have got their run. And they broke them up before they could even give those two any momentum outside of Bray Wyatt. And it would kind of piss me off that, Eric Rowan's replacement would get a chance at a title before he did. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, that's a valid point. And we'll just wait to see what they do. If they keep having tag team matches, you can kind of guess the direction they're heading. So, moving on from there, you had Neville versus Stardust, and I feel this match was rushed in a way. Like the overall outcome of it just was rushed. Typically, like every Neville match, they try to keep him grounded. Stardust did no different, like literally no different. And the match itself, I'm telling you, it was fast paced, and I that's usually a good thing in a Neville match, but this was just like awfully fast paced not in terms of the actual wrestling, in terms of the overall outcome and what happened. It's like WWE just kind of threw it together at the last minute, like, hey, you should probably do this. And obviously I'm speaking about King Barrett returning. I feel like King Barrett was in the back expecting to come out like next week or something and found out he's coming out on the night.
I honestly didn't understand that whole thing. It was just like, oh, Wade Barrett. So what is Wade Barrett's position in all of this?
Well, obviously he had the feud with Neville. That feud is stupid, by the way. I think it's about them both being from London or some shit. Regardless, I don't know what his direct beef with Stardust was. But
are they trying to make him a face?
I'm not sure exactly where they're going. It was good to see Barrett not in that clownish like King gear. for a change and just normal. That was good. But it proposed at the end of the day, typical WWE, it raises more questions than answers at the end of the day. So we're gonna have to wait till next week to find out what they're doing with that storyline. Not that I'm really interested. It's honestly until they make Stardust Cody Rhodes again.
Yeah, bring back Cody.
Hashtag bring back Cody. His reign means absolutely nothing to me. So I want to move from there because the next bit I want to talk about is probably going to be the meatiest bit of this whole entire podcast. And that was Kane's performance evaluation. So basically, earlier on the night, the Authority informed Kane that he would be undergoing a performance evaluation. And Kane, throughout the night, obviously, he's had this weird, when he's in the suit, corporate Kane, he's always so nice. Like, he tries to act all nice. And he's throughout the night, they're showing off, his compassion for his co-worker. When he presented Seth Rollins with the head from his statue in a box. Basically, after that point, you had friggin' what'd you have? You had Kane friggin'... I can't even remember the exact bit. So it's showing Kane's destructive, basically how he was back in the days. And then it's also showing Rollins and Kane's the issues they've been having. And then you had, I think, who was it? Ashley from Human Resources. I think that's the name of the girl.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. All I know is it's just we're giving you an evaluation.
Yeah, and she's trying to determine if Kane's out of his mind. And she determined that he is out of her mind in her mind, and it was Seth Rollins that needed. She found out that Kane was fine, and it was Seth Rollins that needed the evaluation. So, what was it? Rollins ended up dropping the WWE title, and when Kane went to pick it up, Seth Rollins hits him with the pedigree. And then started hitting him with the chair. Yeah, he also put Kane's leg in a chair at one stage, and then put him. The doctors put Kane onto a stretcher, and when he emerged from the ambulance, he had the demon Kane gear on, and then he went straight to the ring, and that was when it was that's when he was limping, and he just stood on the ground. And it was fine. His leg was fine. Shit, I haven't seen Kane do that in ages. Usually Kane just gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, I know. It's weird because I have mixed feelings about the Kane thing because I think it's great from an entertaining standpoint. It's just hilarious. Kane coming after him like this. But I also don't really care for it in a way because this is going to be the championship match at Hell in a Cell, people. Kane and Seth Rollins are going to go for that belt. This is the match they're building.
I think that's the part that people are forgetting. This bit here, you have Kane. He went to the ring. He choke slammed Seth Rollins. Was about to hit him with the Tombstone Piledriver. Rollins got away. But the bit people are forgetting with this is that Kane picked up the belt afterwards, which means he's obviously, I don't know how he is in the running, but he is obviously the front runner for a title shot by some divine miracle for him, because I don't know. And obviously, surely they can't let him win the belt. So
he's not going to win it. Yeah.
So if this is just a temporary run, I don't know. I think
this is that WWE. It's the end of the year. We don't really have much. We're closing out the year. We're getting ready to start game planning for the next WrestleMania. This is WrestleMania's setup season for the writers and for the wrestlers. They're filling in spots, until they get to where they're ready to ramp up for the big push to the Royal Rumble. They have to figure out who's going to win the Rumble, where's it going to go from there. So I think you're going to get a lot of filler things. Like I think after this is Survival Series, and I can see Survival Series being set up even worse, to be quite honest, because who's the teams? What conflict are you going to build with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Like, obviously, Survivor Series is quite a big deal. Like, I know a few people that actually really like Survivor Series, the idea of it and whatnot. So it'd be very interesting to see what take they go with. Hopefully, and I pray to God it's not Ziggler versus Rusev or some shit like that.
I personally think it's going to end up being something called like Team Reigns versus Team Wyatt.
Yeah.
At least that would be probably your best case scenario at this point,
Yeah. But
I hate that they're dragging it out, but yeah, that would be the best way to go.
So on to the 7th match of the night. Again, this is going to be very similar to the Big Show versus Mark Henry. This is almost skippable. The match was Bo Dallas versus Randy Orton, and Bo Dallas is so boring. I honestly can't care when he comes to the ring. He's just that match was so bad. Regardless, I don't even need to say the result really because everyone knows it. But I'll say it anyway. Freaking Randy Orton won. Does nothing for anyone. Literally the biggest time waster ever.
Yeah, it just gave Randy something to do. That's about it.
Yeah. So we're not even going to do.
By the way, with Bo Dallas, just really quick.
Yeah.
Stop jobbing this guy. You're gonna have to give him something. Give him a new gimmick so you can actually make him useful. He's not even good as a jobber at this point, in my opinion. It's just because it's like as soon as you see him, you know what time it is. So, there's nothing to make me want to watch. I know that if Bo Dallas is out, I have enough time to go get me a snack, go to the bathroom, because he ain't gonna do nothing. He's not doing anything. He's not bringing anything to the table, and whoever he's faced, it's not like he's gonna push them. So, yeah.
No, that's so true. So, without dwelling on that match any longer, we'll go on to Rusev versus Kevin Owens. And first, this confused me simply because they're both heels. But the match itself, though, it was kind of weird at the end. It started off pretty interesting, like Rusev, Kevin Owens. It's definitely a match I'd want to see. I don't know if they've versed in the past. I can't remember off the top of my head if they have. I don't think so. But
who cares? Just fucking.
You had them going at it, and the brawl obviously moved to the outside because you had Ryback on commentary. Ryback ended up taking errant shot, and things really exploded then.
And that's kind of why I said who cares, because I kind of had a feeling that that's pretty much where they were going to lead to, like getting over to Ryback and involving him somehow, trying to set up something for Ryback. That's the only reason why he was out there, was that. And had he not been out there, I probably would have cared more, because I would have actually thought, oh, we might get a really good match. But I think they would put on an actual good match together.
Yeah. So, when you had freaking Ryback, all three of them start fighting before Owens and Rusev teamed up on Ryback, and Ziggler came to the rescue. At that point, Owens just slipped out with the Intercontinental Championship, and that pretty much wrapped that bit up.
Yep, that's it.
So
more than likely, SmackDown, you'll see them go at it. That's my prediction. I'm sure if we were to Google the SmackDown results right now, it wouldn't surprise me. If that was it. In fact, I should Google it now, just to see what's the October 1st. And apologies to any of you who are looking forward to SmackDown, but Okay, no, I was wrong. So hey, I'm not spoiling anything, but it still kind of sort of led to that. Anyway, whatever. Goddamn SmackDown. Who cares?
Yeah. So, so the next, this show just got from bad to worse because usually when Paul Heyman comes out, right? Paul Heyman, you think to yourself, yes, we're getting someone who's great on the mic. There's nothing in the world that can ruin this. Nothing. WWE,
Wait a
they
minute.
tried their hardest.
Wait a minute. Don't say that. Don't speak too soon.
Because WWE, they tactically found a way to even make Paul Heyman's segment get worse. Because you had Paul Heyman come out and talk about the power of his client, Brock Lesnar, and basically sold the Big Show as just a giant, like, board amongst men, really. And he said he was worried about Big Show's punching power, but really, at the end of the day, just said that Lesnar's going to take him to Suplex City. And then Big Show obviously came out. No idea where Lesnar was. He yelled at Heyman, claiming that Lesnar was afraid of him, and Heyman just hurried out of the ring. So, not even Paul Heyman can really sell. Not even Paul Heyman at the moment can sell the Big Show as like a serious force, which is depressing for his size. Like, Big Show's just been such a, like, Mark Henry-ish type, but now
when you see you saying that makes me feel bad for Braun Strowman, because WWE seems to have a history these days, since the beginning of the 2000s. Like, they get these big monsters and then they'll build them up, and eventually the monster has to be toppled, right? Somebody has to best the beast. But once that beast gets bested, I feel like that's when the mismanagement starts. It's like, well, now they've been beaten, they can't be as monstrous as before. Or maybe it's just like as they get older, they make the monsters weaker. I don't know what it is, but it seems like Mark Henry, world's strongest man. That's his title. He don't look like the world's strongest man. He looks very weak the way he gets beat nowadays. The Big Show, he's the giant. The knockout punch power, and he gets dumped on like left and right. You know what I mean?
That's a very fair point. And honestly, I'm going to say this now: Braun Strowman has no future in the WWE. That is honest. The minute and the second this little thing he has going with the Wyatt family comes to an end, I can almost guarantee that he won't do anything outside of it. And it's just the way WWE build monsters. I mean, only very few actually survived the reign. I mean, even Kane had his dominance and turned into like a little bitch at the end. Excuse language, but it's like the truth of how they do it. Like I said last week on the podcast, they really need to start emphasizing big wrestlers, like taking them on board. Like Mark Henry, when we were most entertained by him was when he was dominant.
Yeah. I mean, and you can make big people, dominant people lose, but make it look believable. You have to work to beat these guys because these are huge, powerful individuals. You can't just beat them like that. Now, I guess Big Show being the Big Show, maybe that's why he can beat Mark Henry like that. But it still doesn't look bad, but look good because, like you said before, they've had feuds where they went to war, and now all of a sudden Mark Henry can't handle the Big Show. It makes no sense, I don't know. I don't know. I have a feeling like he's just going to get demolished by Brock. More
than likely. I can almost guarantee Brock's going to win. Like, you can lock that in. That's not even a contest. But like I said, we'll see, and we'll do a review of the pay-per-view at Madison Square Garden. Moving right along to the final match of the night, which was the main event, Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns. And I think the WWE, this was what we needed in a sense. Like, just two wrestlers just taking the spotlight. Like, honestly, like, realistically, it was just two workhorses tearing each other apart. Like, so I'll go from the start and we'll break down the match, really, because arguably the match of the night right here, I think, in my honest opinion. And Bray Wyatt had promised Roman Reigns to a one-on-one match, and he came with Luke Harper and Braun Strowman, as expected, really. But Roman Reigns ended up mocking him for bringing them, and Bray Wyatt ended up sending them away, which really set the mood for the match. Like Wyatt saying, "I can do this on my own." And the match was pretty, like, obviously, the good thing about Wyatt, very similar to how we speak about Kevin Owens and stuff, he has the ability to go slow and he can go fast. Like, Wyatt's really, really good in ring.
Yeah.
And, like, you had, this was a very back and forth match. Like, you had Wyatt starting well, and then Reigns slowly mounted a comeback, going with clotheslines and whatnot. And it was near fall after near fall. And then it got taken to the outside where Wyatt ended up throwing the ring steps at Reigns. And basically, I think Reigns ended up taking Wyatt over the guardrail. And then they were fighting in the stands. A street fight unfolded. The referee, it ended in a double count out. And it just kept going. Like, they were just leaving destruction everywhere, and literally they battled until they both laid out on top of a broken table. Like, that's just insane. Like, it's just intense action from start to end. And like, WWE made it really clear, and this is something they've been lacking. Like, they made these two look like they hated each other. Like, that at the end of the day, all they wanted to do was tear each other apart. Like, how often can you say WWE has done that with the feud? Like, made two people actually look like they hate each other?
Yeah, I still think sometimes this is going on a little too long, but the way it's going pretty well. They're doing, like I said, they're probably going to do, which is low-key build up Roman Reigns, and make him like more acceptable. Bray Wyatt's doing a good job of helping to put him over. I just feel bad that they can't put Bray over. You know what I mean? Like, Bray Wyatt, he just puts everybody over. He's such a great character and a great wrestler. Why he constantly has to put people on?
I think the best thing for WWE to do right here, if they really want to capitalize on this feud, I know it's a little while longer that you're going to have to wait and put up with it, but throw these two in a Hell in a Cell match, because I reckon they'd put on a hell of a match inside the cell. Could you imagine Bray Wyatt in the cell?
That would be good.
And it's not like Reigns is the worst person for him to verse, is it? I think get him to Hell in a Cell. After that, you can decide. Obviously, we think it's probably going to go as far as Survivor Series to have a realistic look.
At least Survivor Series, yeah.
Yeah, we'll wait and see how that folds out. But overall, a really solid main event. And I've been complaining a fair bit about Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, how the feud has been going on for a while. And I think it should come to an end. But if they keep putting on matches like this, I can see why WWE keep it around.
Yeah.
Like, I'd much rather...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'd much rather watch this than watch Rusev versus Ziggler.
Yeah, that's true. But going back to your point about the Hell in a Cell thing, I think you might have something there, because if they really want Roman Reigns to be a standout, if he can get into a classic Hell in a Cell match, that would do wonders for his image all around. Like, not just a Hell in a Cell, but a classic one. Like, Dean Ambrose and Seth put on a classic. Until the ending, of course, where they botched that fucking ending. But things like that, if they can have him put on a really good, compelling match, that would help raise his status a little bit and be more accepted, No,
that's so true, and I really do hope WWE choose to do that, and they go that way because it's what's needed for that feud at the end of the day. Like, it's the best possible outcome that feud can have.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll see. We'll see what they got planned. I mean, we still got a few weeks, and we have the Go to Hell tour in between. So they could be setting things up and building it through there as well. It's going to be interesting with this Go to Hell tour, how it's going to work, because it's like they're giving us mini pay-per-views before the pay-per-view. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work out and how good that's going to be.
Yeah. But overall, this Raw, if you haven't watched it, I wouldn't recommend you watch it. I'd say if you can find online, which you usually can with WWE nowadays, Xavier Woods versus John Cena, the Dudley Boyz versus the New Day, and the main event if you really wanted to. You could also toss in the whole Kane thing if you're really interested in that, but that's about all you need to watch. Skip Bo Dallas versus Randy Orton. Skip Mark Henry versus The Big Show.
Yeah, it's about 2 or 3 matches that like you would hold your attention. Other than that, yeah.
So hopefully we can work out what matches are going to be at that Madison Square Garden pay-per-view prior to the actual event, so that way we can maybe chuck in a predictions video. If not, we'll be back after that pay-per-view to cover it, and then we'll definitely have a predictions video for Hell in a Cell when that time comes around.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually kind of excited about the Go to Hell now. I can't wait for the Saturday.
Yeah.
If anything, we get to see Brock Lesnar do Suplex City, possibly on the Big Show. That would be insane. If you can.
That's it. So, like, pretty much that wraps up everything. If I was to touch on one more, I just got to say that I'm glad to be back in the swing of things and actually like back in the mood of like getting here weekly. It's been a bit hard previously getting everything lined up, but things have looked good recently, and we'll be back week after week as long as we can do it.
Yeah, I think we've got the flow back, so that's great. I'm excited. I'm happy to be back on the regular doing this. But that pretty much wraps everything up. So, Pete, if you want to go ahead and say farewell. Also, if you have anything to promote on your channel, please do so.
Well, on my channel, not directly WWE content, but for the month of October, it's literally just going to be insane Halo content. So, any gamers out there that love Halo, definitely the place to be. Like, keep it locked down. And to everyone watching, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. We say it every week, but we truly do mean it because we love talking about it just as much as you love listening to it.
Yeah, and as far as me, the usual stuff. We will be coming to you guys every week. We have the Go to Hell tour that we will be reviewing, so that's some extra sharpshooting talk for you guys on the side. Of course, lots of betas are coming out, so I'm gonna have a lot of beta content coming around. So it's gonna be a fun month. It's gonna be a really fun month. October is a very good month for gaming and wrestling as a whole. But that wraps it up for the Sharpshooting podcast. Again, thank you guys for coming through. We appreciate it, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Peace.